another two-parter. Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to you.
Oh boy, to me.
So I've seen the Dead Meat episodes, the kill count,
Mm-hmm.
and it got me interested in the movie. So I actually haven't seen the full movie, but I know that it's PG-13, so it's not gonna be that gory. And
if you say so.
And I know it's a time loop, so that's about it.
Yeah, it's science fiction horror. Although the science fiction won't come in until the next one.
Yeah, because I think this number 2 is worse, but so
number 2 adds a lot of context to the first one, and a lot of it's stuff that didn't need to be added.
So I don't know. Are they? I think they're college kids or they're high schoolers.
I'm pretty sure they're college since they're living on campus.
But I remember James. I don't know his last name, but from Dead Me, he's like, oh no, maybe it wasn't him. Maybe so. I actually, funny enough, I watched the now playing episode of, I think of both these, and the Dead Meat, so I kind of know a little bit of it. But one of the two podcasts was like yeah, the people they cast, they don't look like college kids.
No, but that's the thing about college kids. They can be any age because college is for everybody.
That is true. When I went to college, I did see people in their 40s or 50s going there. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But yeah, go ahead and read the back of the first one. Then
Blumhouse, Split, Get Out, Whiplash.
Ooh.
Produces this original and inventive rewinding thriller in which a blissfully self-centered co-ed, Jessica Roth of La La Land, is doomed to relive the day of her murder unless she can identify her masked assailant and hopefully stop the madness. If she can't, she'll be stuck in an insane loop, living a ghoulish nightmare that has become her death day.
I think also, is it number 2 that introduces it? I'll let you read number 2.
Of course.
We'll do a two-parter. But one of them introduces the more she dies, the more it scars her.
Oh, that's in the first one.
It's in the first one? Okay.
Because there's a line that's just like, oh, yes, so legally you shouldn't be alive, considering all this shit that's happened to you.
Which I thought was interesting because it gives the movie premise of like not just like Groundhog Day, where it's just like, oh, I'll just keep. Have you heard? Well, I'll go off a little tangent. Have you heard the dark side of the Groundhog Day, where he's actually been in the loop for like thousands and thousands of days, but in the movie they only do like maybe like 12 or
I could
15.
I could see that, yeah.
But
he's got to learn how to play piano.
Right, but
that doesn't just happen in a day.
But yeah, he gets to the point where he's just like, I don't know, like.
Yeah, there's a part in there that I think he just starts suiciding because he's like, fuck it. Like, I think I remember seeing a clip where, the toaster in the bathtub jumps out a window. Just because it's like, whatever, I'm just going to wake up tomorrow.
Right.
Alright, do I need to read the second one?
Yeah, go. So what we'll do is we'll read, since I know both the premises of one, what we'll do is we'll read both. Well, I'll have you read them because you are much more of a beautiful reader than I am.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That's what
I need Phil. Phil needs to read this. He's better at this than I am.
But what we'll do is we'll talk about both the two. We'll watch the first one, we'll review it, and then we'll cut to the second one right after.
Okay. It's deja vu all over again for Tree Gelbman. Her last name's Gelbman? The snarky...
You did say the second movie adds premise. Oh shit, we didn't give her a last name.
The snarky sorority sister who solved her own murder by repeatedly reliving her death. When the masked campus killer mysteriously returns to terrorize new targets, Tree cycles through another time loop of clever chills and suspense in Happy Death Day to You, the inventive follow-up to Blumhouse hit thriller Happy Death Day. Even more fun than the original, says Mike Rees, Cinema Blend.
There's a guy, Blumhouse, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy who's on RHAP, and his name is Mike Bloom. So it would have been a funny quote if he said, "It's more fun than the first one," says Mike Bloom. But
oh man, these movies are long.
How long are they?
First one's an hour and 36.
Holy.
Second one's an hour and 40.
Hour 36 isn't long.
It's almost 2 hours. It's an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, because I like some movies do like.
Some of them are like 100 minutes. And it's like, ooh, that's an hour and 40.
Well, I guess we probably should get into it then. We should probably get
We'll be back in 96 minutes.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of whatever this is. JaCornsCorner. I don't think we said that the first time.
Probably not.
No, as soon as you hit record, I was like, oh, we should have totally played we should have like watched the intro again and just said the exact same stuff.
I mean, I could loop it.
You could.
Except I think you're going to be the one editing this. So you can do that.
I could do that. I don't want to do that. Before I forget, I want to start off by saying I love, and I said this at the very beginning of the movie. I love when, like the pictures that start off the show, like, or the movie, where it's like Universal, Paramount, whatever, Viacom, CBS, Sony. I love when they incorporate the intro into the movie, so like it looped 3 times. But no, I actually I enjoyed this movie. It was, for the most part, it flew by pretty fast.
Yeah, it was. Didn't quite feel like almost 2 hours.
Yeah, so like, I think there's a giant plot hole, and I was not plot hole, but there's a thing where like she has to figure out who is killing her. Who the baby daddy is, as we call it.
Who baby faces.
And it's so easy because, I mean, you could just rip the mask off and just be like, oh, it's you. But no, we want to make the movie, we actually want to make a movie, so we have to.
There's a part where the baby mask gets hit with a hammer, and there's no damage on the baby mask.
Yeah.
And it should just be a cheap plastic mask. It should have cracked.
But so we'll start off. We start off with we start off just like, she wakes up. It's her birthday, and she's in this guy's room. She thinks she had sex with him. She's set up to be the town whore of the movie. She's also the bitch. She's a combination of everybody that she encounters. There's a could be the killer. Because
everybody's got a motive because she kind of sucks.
So she ends up, she goes through the day, all this shit happens, and then she ends up dying. And then she wakes up, and it's the same day, and she's kind of like, oh, that's weird, everything's happening, and does the exact same stuff, dies in a different way because she doesn't take the tunnel where she dies the first time.
Yeah, so the first death, there's a tunnel and there's a little like music box, and she goes to check it out, and then Babyface shows up and kills her essentially after a short chase. Well, on the second day, she decides to go to her quote-unquote surprise party because I think she knows about it at this time. No, she doesn't know about it yet, but she goes there, and there is a guy wearing a Babyface mask for reasons, and he gets punched in the face.
Okay. Let's clarify. For some reason
the college's the mascot is the Bayfield Babies.
Yeah, which is, I don't know who decided to make but anyway, that's why. Okay, that's what. Yeah, but yes, for some reason he's wearing a mask for some.
Because I don't know, surprise, and he gets bopped in the face, and then he takes her up to his room, and then she gets killed.
He shows him his digs, which he has like a blow up doll, which none of this is important. But you pointed out something that I didn't realize. He had like 3 different cocks on his wall.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the hat rack with panties.
That too. I mean, you were like, you were more invested in that room. You're like, all right, I got to figure out this nook and cranny of like what's in this room.
I want to see the things on the wall, and unfortunately, the thing on the wall were cocks.
Now, when we say cocks, we mean chickens, roosters.
Yes.
Cacao. I know it's not.
That was bad.
No, I know that's not chicken, but I just want cacao. I just like that. But anyways, yeah. So
she gets murdered there, and then
after he gets murdered, so he comes in with the mask.
Yeah, he's got the mask on, and she takes it off, and it's him. And he's like, yeah, time to party.
Then he starts breaking out his dance moves, and then the killer comes in and then ends up
wearing the same costume and kills him. And then she turns around like, "Oh, you put the baby mask on. How cute. Ha, I'm going to leave now because this is weird." And then she gets stabbed with a bong.
A rokabar.
Yeah.
So
then on to loop 3. Basically, is this the one where she's having the panic attack all the way through?
Yeah, and she tells her roommate about it, and her roommate's like, just take the day off. And so she takes the day off. And I think hindsight, we should figure... I don't know how this... I guess she has to go out and get the wood. But, like, she ends up boarding up her windows. She puts a dresser in front of her door. And then she still ends up dying to the baby.
Because the baby face was on the inside the whole time.
Which is like, I just don't get it. Like, that part is like, well, how? There's no way that anybody can sit silent in one room. I don't care who you are. There's no way you can sit silent in a room. Not have some bowel movement, like what I mean by like your stomach growls or something like that. But yeah, so she ends up dying, and then she wakes up, and then.
So we might as well at this point just montage it. She.
Oh yeah. So she wakes up this time, and she tells the guy that she wakes up in the room with, Carter.
Did you do that on purpose?
No. I said Craig, and I'm like, that's not the right name. And I'm like, oh yeah, Carter. But because I called him I call him Marcus, I think, the first time. Well, he looks like a Marcus.
And then you called him Corey later.
Corey, I'm just like, we're going down the seas here.
Yeah, yes, Marcus, that famous C-letter word.
But Marcus was the first one, and then after that, then I started calling him C's.
So yeah, he's like,
well, do you have a list of people that would hate you? And she's like, well, this guy, Uber driver, this girl,
I got fired from Macy's or whatever.
And so then this is when the montage starts to happen, when she just kind of keeps finding people and saying, is that the killer? And then she dies to the killer. And
then she crosses them off on the next loop, and then
she finds out one of her, and this isn't important, but one of her ex-boyfriend's companions is gay. And so that becomes a thing like, hey, live your life, But so she ends up going, and then somehow she figures out that
they go to a diner, and on the news, they're like, "Oh yes, the serial killer is here at the Bayville Hospital," and she's like, "He was here the whole time."
Oh, and I think before I forget, I think she starts to figure out that the more time, like we said in the intro, the more time she dies, the harder it is for her to come back.
Yeah.
So she's like,
the weaker she feels.
So it's like, oh, we gotta start figuring this out now. So she ends up going to the hospital, and then she ends up Carter. I was gonna call him Craig again, but Carter ends up saving her, but he ends up dying in the process. So she's like, okay, I know who it is,
but I can't survive this loop because then he'll be dead forever.
So she goes and hangs herself. How she found a noose up, I don't know.
I'm surprised she didn't just like throw herself.
I thought for sure. I thought it'd been funny. So she ends up knocking out the killer, and she's like, wait, if I kill him, then when I wake up the next day, Carter's still gonna be dead. So I thought it would have been funny if she would have ran up the stairs, because it's a giant staircase.
It's a clock tower.
Yeah, and so it would have been funny if she would just did he's just getting up after being knocked out, and then all of a sudden she just goes plap right now, and he's like, what the fuck happened? So she kills herself. Then she makes amends with everybody that she's wronged.
I think that might have been that loop.
No. That was the next loop, because after she figures out who it is.
Right.
So then she ends up killing the killer, but then she wakes up again, and she's like, wait, what happened? Because the roommate gave her a cupcake, and she ate the cupcake later, and she's like, oh shit, my roommate is the killer.
I died in my sleep. And then yes, she realizes it was the roommate. who for some reason knew everywhere she was going to be.
Yeah, because she's also like a nurse, so it's like
she was able to teleport. That's the only thing I can think of.
So she ends up the main protagonist ends up killing the girl, and she ends up waking up the next day.
And Carter's all like, he pulls the whole, this is what the loop's been doing the whole time. Like, he sets it up that way. And she's like, oh no. And he's like, just kidding. And he's like, you suck.
So the end stinger of the movie is they talk about Groundhog's Day, and this is what I found most egregious about this movie, because I was telling you, you either know, because she's like, oh, Carter's like, oh, this is like Groundhog's Day, and she's like, Groundhog's Day, and Carter's like, yeah. Is it sad that I know Carter's name and I don't know her name?
Her name's Tree.
Tree? Oh, that's probably explains it.
It's short for Teresa.
Tree. Oh, well, that explains it. But he's like, yeah, the one with Bill Murray, and she's like, Bill Murray, and I'm like, okay.
And then he's like, Ghostbusters, and she's like, no, I don't know that one.
And I'm like, okay, you don't have to have seen. For people in our generation of, like, I would say at least 25 and older. I would say
if you're a millennial.
I would say if you're, with whatever the end of millennials are, you would either know who Bill Murray is, or know what Groundhog's Day is.
You would at least know what Ghostbusters
because those are like the iconic classes of like not cult, but like you at least have heard. So I get it. It means absolutely nothing. All right over there?
Yeah, I've got hiccups.
Okay. I thought you were dying. I was like, oh no.
I mean, we're all slowly dying.
That is true. Every second. But as we always like to do, we always like to end with our rankings of A being owned on DVD, B being Netflix, C being watch on TV, D being don't watch, and F being avoid. I would say I'll go first. Because I told you, and this is a callback to yesterday's episode of the. I'm a little worried with number 2 when we're gonna watch it a little bit later, that it's gonna be worse than the first one, and it's a callback to Thanksgiving, where the first one wasn't like you should have it on DVD, but I was like, it was pretty good, and then the second one was just like a complete letdown. And we haven't seen a Happy Death Day 3U. Oh my god! I hope they get to a 4 and it goes Happy Death Day for you. But I'm gonna give it an A, because I think you should own it on DVD. I think it's a pretty good movie. There's only like a little bit of a lull, but for the most part, for being how long it was, I didn't feel like I was sitting. Okay, and I'm delaying you because I know you got a hot take on.
Oh, do I?
No. But Jacob has this most uncomfortable couch, and we've brought it up over the years. My ranking of if I can sit in this couch and not feel like I'm like, not feel like I'm like being tortured to sit in this chair, and I didn't at all feel like. I mean, I did move around, but I never felt like I was like, oh God, can I get off this stand chair? So that's why I give it an A. So let's hear your hot take.
I'd probably give it a B.
Jesus fucking Christ, that's a hot take. No, I'm just kidding.
I'd say B because, like, it's not as well written of a suspense story as it could be.
Right.
Because there's a whole lot of, like, well, who could it be? It could just be anybody until, like, the final 5 minutes until you find out, oh, it's this person.
Well, and, like I said, if she takes the mask off. But then you also had a point about the police officer. If you can give that point. Where she ends up getting there's only one police officer. Well, I
was trying to remember what the point was, but it's the thing where it's like, go call for help, and then like he doesn't use his his.
Oh no, sorry, yeah, not that police officer scene. The when she ends up escaping the guy, she's like, there's no way that the killer should know.
Oh,
so like
yeah.
that point, like,
yeah, midway through the movie, I think it's before the montage happens. She She escapes out the parking garage of the hospital, because she's in the hospital because they're looking at her going, yeah, you shouldn't be alive right now. And so she escapes, presumably drives out of town. And the cop pulls up, and she's like, if I say I'm drunk, or if I'm drunk, you guys will arrest me. And he's like, yeah, that's typically how it works. She's like, I'm drunk. I'm on everything right now. So he goes ahead and arrests her. And then out of nowhere, Babyface shows up, just runs him over.
Right. Yeah, and
there shouldn't have been any way Babyface knew where to be.
Right. Unless, they should somehow set it up like, it would have been an easy fix if the first time she woke up, like the girl goes, oh, I know, I have your track phone or something like that. But she wouldn't be carrying her phone because she was in a gown, so it wouldn't have mattered anyways.
Yeah. But I don't know. But
you need another point too, which is this means absolutely nothing about the killer, and the killer should have been in a gown too.
Yeah, so the actual
this is the one I thought was the funniest thing. I'm like, you know what? It would have been so funny to see this guy in a gown.
So the actual serial killer, who's not the one killing her though, he's just a serial killer who's part of the story. He's in the hospital, but he's wearing like the same costume as Babyface without the mask. So he's like, why isn't he in a gown? He's in the hospital.
It would have been funny if he was in a gown, because he does these cool ass wrestling moves, and it's just been funny. Because I think this is going off a little tangent, but I think the opening to Metal Gear Solid 5, when Snake's crawling around in a gown, I think that's kind of cool. It's just like, there's, I don't know, but yeah, I think that would have been funny, but. Sorry, I didn't mean to make your hot take, so I didn't mean to keep taking away from your hot take.
No, it's fine. It's basically just like, it's not as well set up as it could be. Because, there's only, I think there's one subtle hint as to who it could be in the movie, and it's the part where Babyface drops the candle into the gasoline. And I think that's the one subtle hint.
Well, I think the other subtle hint is when she dies in her room.
Yeah.
Because that's going back, because that's why I didn't want to say anything when I was talking about that scene, because I'm like, well, how the fuck, how is Babyface, one, why is Babyface in your room? I know that you pissed off everybody in the fucking neighborhood, but it's like, why is Babyface just sitting in your room? I don't know, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get your point with.
I mean, other than that, it's fine.
That's why I'm getting a high ranking now, because, like I said, I think. I think
Happy Birthday to You is gonna fucking.
I think.
Tank it.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna tank it, so that's why I want to give it a higher rating now, and then whenever the second one. But it looks like it has, on the back of the cover, it looks like it has 3 of the returning characters.
Yeah,
so.
It's expanded cast.
So yeah, so we will be back
in another 100 minutes.
Hey, welcome back to the podcast. This is the Corn Bros.
Yeah, so we're going to be watching Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You tonight.
Yeah. I love that you completely ignored my Corn Bros thing. You're like, we're going right in.
I know.
That was pretty good. That was a good one. That was
it was better than Thanksgiving 3.
It definitely was. And if to anybody who doesn't like horror, this really isn't a horror movie.
No.
They went
Then again, neither was the first one. The first one was more of a suspense movie.
It's suspense, but there was a lot of killing. There was a lot of.
It was a slasher.
This was so much was more of like, all right, well not. So this one's gonna be a little bit more trickier, because there's like parallel universes that opens up.
It actually probably won't be that tricky, because so it initially starts with the one of the characters from the first movie, not Tree or Carter, but the roommate Ryan, and he is stuck in a time loop now. And so he tells that to them, and they're like, "Yeah, we dealt with this like 5 minutes ago." So they get him out of the loop, but in exchange, Tree goes back to the previous day, but in an alternate reality, where Carter is now dating her mortal enemy. The serial killer, or the baby face, is not the same baby face from the first movie. It's a different person behind the mask. And most importantly, Tree's mom is alive. So
you're okay. Before you go on, keep that. I like your explanation so far. Now, before we go too far, Ryan is one in the time loop now.
At the beginning, yes.
And then Ryan tells the people that he's in a time loop. She's like, "Oh yeah, you're in a time loop. So we gotta find who the killer is." Now, spoiler: we'll never find out who's killing Ryan. But so then, another Ryan from the parallel universe says,
"No, we find out who's killing Ryan. It's Ryan."
But there's two of them though.
Yeah, it's the second Ryan. The second Ryan is killing the first Ryan.
Yeah. No, there's two people in mass, isn't there? In the beginning.
No, when Ryan is the one stuck in the time loop, he is being killed by alternate reality Ryan.
Okay.
And then the person behind the baby face, when Tree gets stuck in the alternate reality loop, is another person.
Okay. That's it. But we never figure out why Ryan was in the time loop.
To stop Ryan from creating another time loop. Well, I don't know how he got there in the first place, but there was basically, you might as well think of it as he came from the future to stop himself from doing something stupid.
Okay.
And the way he figured it out was like, I'm gonna kill myself.
Now, I'll also throw in here too. I just found out. For you guys, you're hearing within like 20 minutes. I'm finding out after 5 hours because we had a little plot twist. We went for a walk after this. It had nothing to do, but I learned that Tree and her mom share a birthday. I didn't know that, and Jim's like, "Yeah, that was explained in the first movie," and I'm like, "Wow."
Yeah, I'm like,
for 5 hours, I've been thinking that.
I'm like, this is the reason why she doesn't like her birthday and she doesn't want to talk to her dad.
But anyways, I'm sorry for interrupting. Now you clarified something else for me again with the whole Ryan situation. I'm like sitting here, I'm like, I don't know why the fuck Ryan. But anyways, you can go on with the.
Okay, so now that Tree is stuck in the alternate reality, she's also stuck in another time loop. And basically, they're like, well, we need to figure out a way to end the loop. So we're going to just do a whole bunch of equations. But we won't be able to tell which one is the one that works.
So Tree would have to memorize it in her head.
Yeah, so she just has to memorize every single failed equation.
And I think this movie was more of, oh, jeez, I just thought of this. There was some show that was created where they're like, oh, we had all these cool ideas, but we didn't do it, so forget it. So basically, I think what happened was they're like, oh, we had all these cool. We were thinking of all these cool ways that the girl could have died. So we're like, oh, we'll just make a montage of.
Yeah. So to get out of having a serial killer, she just kills herself before she dies to the serial killer. And
one death is skydiving.
Naked skydiving.
Almost naked.
Bikini skydiving.
I think more in her underwear.
It was.
Well, yeah, it don't matter. Wood chipper, which you were like, you were waiting the whole first movie for. You're like, yeah, I think there was a wood chipper. Like,
yeah, the wood chipper death is one that I remembered, but it wasn't in the first one.
Then she drinks what?
Bleach in the supermarket,
and
some dude just watches and he's just like, I'm out.
He's like, oh my god,
I ain't seen a dead body.
This isn't in the montage, but one day, this is the funniest fucking thing you've said. We'll explain it again when we get to it, but. She crashes into
into the electrical plant.
It'll make sense when we get there, but you had a funny joke. I'm like, yeah, everybody on life support, fuck you.
You don't matter to me.
But anyways, okay, go ahead. You can continue with the plot.
All right, so she memorizes the formula so they can end the loop, and she's like, I'm fine staying in this world. My mom's alive. That's all I care about. Screw you, Carter. You can date that bitch.
and Carter hits her with the truth bomb, saying, "Hey, this isn't your life. You know, you're
living somebody else's life."
Carter in this thing is kind of, I don't want to say scumbag because they never really went to the lengths, but he's more of a, no, I don't want to say douchebag either.
Well, I think in this one it's more of he's already got a girlfriend.
Yeah, and
he's not trying to impress this girl.
Yeah, and
it's just she happened to be drunk, and he's like, I better, not let somebody take advantage of it.
Right. Well, no, I never took it that way, but I guess maybe
I'm just saying that's the only reason why they're together.
Right. But I think like he was like, well, I want to date this girl because she's more interesting than my girlfriend now. Or something.
Oh, you're saying that he wants to date Tree because she's more interesting than...
Yeah.
I see. I thought you were saying it the other way around.
That's the problem when
you... I don't want to date Tree because this girl's...
No. Because
I'm already dating Danielle.
That's the problem, I think, with the whole time loop thing is they kind of end up wrecking... Okay, so when we're recording this, it's going to be... This is a little time lapse, but it's in September, and 12 Minutes just came out. And I was talking to you about how would you explain to somebody that you're in a time loop if you only had X amount of time to explain something. So like that was one thing they really didn't explain. Like they're like, oh well.
They kind of gloss over it, but there's a part where she's like, "You guys may have only known me for an hour or a few hours, but I've known you guys for weeks."
Yeah, and
it's just like you've been convincing them for weeks.
Because I think even in movies, of course, because it doesn't really exist that we know of. Every once in a while, you can say the same thing 10 times in a row, but that 11th time, they could go, "You're crazy,"
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, well, yeah, with the whole 12 minutes, like how you explain something to somebody. So like, how does he fall in love with her? When he's only
I don't think that version actually did fall in love with her. I think that version just said, "Hey,
no, that's
you're not living your life. You're living somebody else's."
Well, that scene when his girlfriend comes up, and after he says that, and she walks away, and the girlfriend comes up and like, "Oh, well, we need to go to class or something." I don't remember what she said, but he's like, "Hey, not right now." He just and he kind of looked at Tree walking away. Mm. So that's where I was like, oh, okay, so he's falling in love, and so he has to keep her.
Well, look, maybe somebody just wants to stick dick and crazy. That's fine.
It could be.
You don't do that, but that's fine.
So I'm sorry for keep derailing. I'll probably derail you again.
So let's see. She goes to her birthday party with her mom, and they're like, and she's like, "Hey, can we just go somewhere that's not here?" Because at this time they're setting up the. I think it's called Sissy, the plot device.
Such a weird name too.
The time orb, and so they basically stop at a motel, and she talks to her mom and she's like, "If you had to pick between the person you love and somebody else, what would you do?" And she's like, "Well, I'd pick your dad because I got you out of it." And then she's just like, and Tree's like, "Okay, well."
And then the news thing pops up saying that her. Oh, the other twist is that in this universe, the roommate is not a killer.
Yeah, the roommate is just a roommate.
Yeah, so we find out that the roommate,
a police officer, and Carter all die at the hospital.
And that's what causes the scene where she runs into the.
So she's like, "Okay, I can't stay in this timeline if Carter's gonna be dead." So she steals the car, drives into the electrical plant, screaming, "Screw you people on life support! You don't matter."
She doesn't act screwed up, but yeah, that's what Jeff wants to believe, that she's, and that's what I want to believe too, that she said that.
So she blows up the transformer with a second to spare on the time orb, and then she wakes back up and does the whole.
They leave it as so every time she dies, they instantly go back to the bed where she wakes up. This one they lingered on her death for like a couple seconds.
Did they?
Yeah.
I didn't notice.
Well, it was kind of like everything blew up, and then you're like, I was like, oh, was she not in time? And then and ends up waking up in the bed. Oh, and the other thing that I was, because I think this is a scene. This is a scene where sorry, I didn't mean this. It just popped in my head. I'm like, yeah, no, this is the scene where so every time she wakes up, Carter's always looking under the dresser, and she's like, what the hell are you looking for under?
Well, first she quotes everything he says.
Okay.
Like.
Oh yeah, I folded your clothes.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to sleep in. Fold your clothes. Didn't know if you get wrinkles. And she does that, and then she's like, "What the hell are you looking for under there?"
And I leaned to Jacob. I said, "You know, I've seen this part so many times. I never wondered what he's looking for under there." So somebody in the first movie must have came out, like probably in the reviews, like, "What the hell does this kid keep looking for?" And he's finding his retainer.
Yeah.
So
I think this is the final loop now, and so she gets it all set up. But like you were saying earlier, with the deviation, on the 11th one, the dean shows up and takes Sissy, so they can't end the loop and go back. So they have to come up with this convoluted plan to steal it back. And she has Carter's new girlfriend pretend to be blind and French to distract the dean so they can get the keys, get the time orb. And it's a whole bunch of slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
I think the man does get slapped with a stick.
Oh yeah, he definitely gets slapped.
And so they get the time orb back, and Tree's like, "Look, I gotta go do a thing real quick. Keep the time orb going." So she goes to the hospital to save her roommate, and she kills the serial killer, who was going to kill the roommate. And then as they're leaving, Babyface shows up, and Tree's like, "Look, I know who you are, Babyface. You're the teacher. You're Gregory something or other. I forget the last name. You're Gregory."
You're Greg.
And he's like, "Congratulations. You done did it, but you missed one detail. I'm not alone." And so Gregory's wife is also in on the murder. I guess. There's a few betrayals.
Gregory kills his wife.
He's like, "I want a divorce." And then he chases Tree because... So, Carter comes up to help. And he gets shot at. And then Tree takes that opportunity to run. They get into, what is it, an MRI room?
Yeah.
And basically, she hits the magnet. And he takes a wheelchair to the dick. Gets pinned to the MRI machine. And then she, lets go of a screwdriver that she brought with her. That was her weapon of choice, the screwdriver. Big old flathead. Yeah. And so, yeah, he just gets screwdriver right in the heart. And then Carter, best friend, and Tree all get together. And they're like, "Yeah, good place to get shot. Yeah."
Good place to get... Well, I don't know.
If you're gonna get shot, this is the best place.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I replaced the nurse girl with Phil. I think that's his name. So I'm like, what scene are we on right now? I'm trying to think of
And so as this is happening, we cut back to the science room, where they're desperately trying to keep the dean and his two campus guards.
Time out. I just remembered a scene. So. In this, when she wakes up from the bed, Phil walks in, and
Phil.
Is that his name?
Ryan.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Phil, Ryan.
You said Phil. You replaced nurse with Phil. I'm like, who the fuck's Phil?
What made you call me out?
Is it our Phil?
No. So this is why I thought what's his name was a douchebag. It's because he walks in Ryan, and he goes, "Oh, did you get the?" Because he's always says, "Do you get the vagina or
The
whatever?"
fine vagina.
The fine vagina, and she's like, she gives him that look of like, "Oh." Like,
oh.
That's why I thought he was a douchebag. Sorry, you just rejogged my whole.
Yeah, that one that happens like at the very beginning of the movie, I think.
Yeah, so that's why I thought he was a douchebag.
Ah.
Sorry.
Anyway, so it cuts.
I am the king of derailing.
So it cuts back to the science room. Ryan and the two friends. We didn't mention them. They're not important.
Well, okay, yeah, they're so unimportant that on the wiki, they get low billing. They're
like the 27th character on what?
You know
were
how
you on IMDb?
No, I was on Google.
Oh, they were the 27th character on the. Well, the girl was. I don't know.
And let's just say there's a girl in the first name named Tran. I hope I said that right. But she's always the one sitting outside the campus house or whatever, and she always waves. Never.
She has no actual lines of dialogue. It's just wave at tree when she comes in, and be sad when she doesn't wave at you.
And she got higher billing. Well, not in the actual movie, but on Google, she's 3 levels higher than the girl who actually had lines and actually said shit. So I just thought that was funny.
But yeah, so the time loop goes off, closes it, everything's hunky-dory. They're now doing campus jail time, essentially. Campus community service.
And the other Ryan is gone.
Yeah, the other Ryan's gone. They just kind of dropped that plot point. So, yeah, they're doing the community service, and then the black SUVs show up tailgating. And it's DARPA. It's the government.
And then they go, hey, we took your sissy, so...
how does it work?
And so then they go, oh, well, we'll show you.
We need a test subject.
And then
I know who to pick. And for some reason, they just fuck over Danielle.
Which is the...
that was Carter's girlfriend in the parallel timeline.
Yeah.
And she was also kind of a bitch in the first one, but that was the first one.
So I'm like, okay, that's interesting, But that's what I was like. They totally had the thing where they could put Ryan in there, and that would explain the whole premise of why Ryan was trying to kill Ryan, because Ryan could be like, hey, yeah, let's not have this time loop because now we're all fucked. But
yeah, it's fine.
But you did point out, which I'm the number one. Oh my God, Back to the Future fan over here. Did the company that had the shredder,
the wood chipper was Biff's wood chipping or stump removal or something.
I was like,
the only reason I know that is because I saw somebody else call it out.
Oh, fake fucking fan over here.
I haven't seen Back to the Future since I worked at my old job, and I only got to see 15 minutes of it because I saw it on the break room TV.
So yeah, so that was Happy Death Day to you. As always, we do. Oh, you know the fucking rankings. If you were here the first one, A, B, C, D, F, I don't care. I'll let you go first this time.
I'd give this one also a B.
Oh, congratulations. I give it a B too.
Because, I mean, yeah.
So, okay.
I don't really have a reason. It's just, it was a competently made sequel.
Yeah, it was definitely...
It didn't go... It went not in the same direction I would have hoped it would go. Like, it went more of as a sci-fi thing than, a slasher.
Yeah, I think you pointed out somewhere, like, towards the end of the movie, you're like, oh, this wasn't a horror movie. I'm like, yeah, well, at least we're doing the first one, so the first one's in there, so it's kind of a horror.
Yeah.
But, no, I definitely, like, my thought is, always, A and B are always, and I think I explained this in other episodes of different shows, like, A and B are almost the same. Just one is a money investment, and the other one's, Netflix you pay for it, but you get everything for free. But it's still a premium of owning. So I mean, yeah, I would go between, if you've never seen the first one, and you watch this one, I give it an A. But if you've seen the first one, and seen this one, it's not a step down, but it's also
it feels like a half step, kind of adjacent.
Right.
Like, not up or down, just kind of to the left.
Yeah, because like I said, there's no Jason running around chasing you. But, towards the end there is.
Yeah, and it's not even like that much because like they immediately reveal who it is.
And there's no reason why. I mean, the thing
it's a parallel world. That's all you need.
Well, parallel, but like there's no reason why the teacher would.
I think it's because in the parallel world, his wife found out, and I'm sure it was like a whole look. If we're gonna stay together, she needs to die.
Yeah. So that would kind of nice.
Well, you know, I guess I can kill her off, kill the wife off, claim life insurance. I'm set for a while.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So
I think it was just they needed to have a villain. And
right. Oh, exactly.
They're like, well, we can't use any of the villains we had in the first one. Except they tried.
I thought for sure, because I didn't know how it was gonna work. I thought for sure that they're gonna bring people from the other parallel world to like, you know, since the one. Oh, they couldn't do it because it literally takes place a day after. Now, okay, I should have said this at the very top. This was filmed. You said a year apart from each other.
I think so. There's a time difference in them.
They literally got all the cast from the first movie back in the second movie.
Yeah, one's.
They shot every scene almost verbatim from the first movie to the second movie. So if there is a time, because I was like, there's no way. They looked all the same age, except Carter looks like he has a little bit more hair in this movie than in the first movie. But otherwise, it's like everything's almost shot for like we got to see there's a. So we're not for sure if they're Smosh fans or not, because there's a guy who goes, "Shut up!" and it sounds just like the Smosh intro. And so we always hear it in the first movie. When she wakes up, we hear the "shut up." And so when we wake up with Ryan, he's walking in, and we get to see that scene, almost how like it was just pretty cool. And I give them props, and that's why I like the movie. And again, like I said in the first part, you know, Jacob's chair is fucking godly uncomfortable. And being able to sit on here and not feel like I'm in pain, torturing myself to watch a movie, you know, that's why I like both movies. So, you got anything else to say?
Not really. It's better than Thanksgiving 3.
Good
night, everybody.
That's true.